You're watching TVC Breakfast. Now, housing, one of the essential needs of humans to live a decent life, is on the rise in Nigeria, as Nigerians are still grappling with surging food prices and transportation fares. The rising cost of housing is worsening in the situation. Now, in this report, Zainab Akonde examines factors responsible for rising house rents in Lagos and Ibadan and how the residents are coping.
Of each day, one place people are expected to find rest is home. Statistics by the Association of Housing Corporations of Nigeria, which ranks the country home ownership at 25%, being the lowest in the world, compared to Brazil with 74%, Kenya 75%, South Africa 70%, and Indonesia 84%. Over the years, provision of adequate houses for citizens in Nigeria has been challenging for government and corporate bodies. Nigeria, with over 200 million people, is facing housing deficit, which leads to possible unaffordable cost of rent. Lagos, the commercial hub like many commercial cities in the world, has this attribute of expensive accommodation for its residents. Over the years, house rent continues to rise, making living in the city a tough job. There are many factors responsible for high cost of rent in Lagos. To find out more about this, I went in search for answers. Oftentimes, tenants blame house owners for high cost of rent. I met a house owner, Decry, who has been a landlord for over 35 years. He tells me that high cost of rent should be pegged on the cost of building materials and agents.
So everything has gone up. When things go up in Nigeria, it doesn't come down. So, and it does affect the reason why we raise the rents. It does. It plays a major part in it, inflation. Building materials has not double, not even triple, has gone up a whole lot. I used to buy 5 tons of granite at 35,000. If the same 5 tons of granite is now 70,000 naira. You have agents that bring in people a lot, maybe from your state, from other states that want to move to Lagos. They are the problem. Agents think they can dictate the rents. I have agents that will come to me and say, sir, how much are you collecting? I'll say 500. I know you can collect 1 million. So they are not really helping. If an agent comes to you that I'm asking for 500 and I say 1 million, I mean, come on. I'm going to collect the 1 million.
Reacting to this, an agent, Benga Ashogbon, confirms that some agents influence house rent and agency commission for their own interests.
Some agents, personally, they influence the cost of the rent. Sometimes it could be the landlord. The landlord will tell the agent, somebody has spent 3 years in my house. Since over 3 years, I've not increased their rent. So I want an increment. So the landlord can actually talk to his agent. If he has a lawyer, he can write his lawyer and say, please serve whosoever is in the property an increment of so percentage. So sometimes some agents just use their own discretion and increase the rent. We are asked to collect 10% of whatever the client is paying on letting. But in some occasion, we influence it to 20%. But in the situation whereby clients say they cannot pay, we consider them to that 10% that they can pay.
A lawyer says that the government should ensure proper policy implementation to address these issues.
While we preach to our people to reduce their inordinate greed and then try to bring in humanity and human face in everything that we do, we also, on the other side, ask that the government should come in by way of policy making and policy implementation. Government has a responsibility and a role to bend backwards and pick those ones that you call the downtrodden. The measure of good governance is not by the number of the elite that you build houses for, but the number of the masses that you have touched their lives.
A Lagos-based realtor explains that some people are interested in the highbrow areas, which are competitive, hence the high cost.
Everybody is looking for a greener pasture, and everybody believes Lagos is where it's happening. Hence, the snowballing of the prices of houses. Hybrid area too, they are more expensive in terms of, because ordinarily it is expected that it's going to have a well-secured environment as well.
No doubt, tenants are made to feel the heat. I went to see some tenants in Lagos who shared their experiences on the impact of high cost of rent.
Common people cannot longer live in Lagos to get apartment. Even decent apartment you can't get. When you get to these houses, they don't renovate it. Everything is spoiled. They will ask you that is parking in, you have to renovate that house. If you don't do it, where will you get house? Nowhere to see house. So you have to come in, you have to renovate, put tiles, repaint everywhere, change the doors to your taste. At times you change the net, put Amaco doors to fit. And at the end of the year, they will want to increase. After you have paid 1.5, 1.7 for a year.
Judith explains how expensive it is to live in Lagos and how this has affected her business.
When you come to my shop now, everywhere is scanty, and you are the only one taking care of your children, no husband to help. You are the only one doing all these things. You just the grace of God for you to have accommodation over your head, and when your children come back from school, they see where they stay.
Philomena is also asking for the government intervention in solving these problems.
The government should come to the rescue of the people. The people are suffering.
On the streets of Lagos, the stories are the same.
Cost of rent in Lagos is like killing a lot of people. We're just working. How much am I handing? At the end of the day, I'm paying over 65% of my per annum into a house rent.
Salary remaining the same, it means we have to cut down on our expenses in other areas. I think people are just trying to keep their job just to be employed, because really that take-home pay is not taking you home.
Previously, I paid 180,000, but later my landlord now called me. We had a meeting, and he let me know that very soon he will no longer to collect 180,000 naira again. From 180,000 naira to 250, from 250 to 300 right now.
In Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, residents are also lamenting over rising house rents, calling on the government to intervene.
All of the agents, they might increase the money of the house. The landlord may be saying that he's going to put it like this 100,000 per in annual. But the agents can take this maybe their own commission, 100,000, make it 200,000. But now everything just escalates.
I think everybody here knows what is happening in Nigeria, but I don't think so far there is no amendment made to the house. I don't think there should be an increase in the house rent.
The housing deficit may be telling as the economic crunch bites. Some house owners believe it is time to make more money, but Nigerians want the government to put an effective policy to address the situation. Zainab Akonde, TVC News, Lagos.